Well, hello, gorgeous souls, and welcome back to my fabulous YouTube channel. I'm Tara Kinden, the Celestial Manifester, and today I will be taking you on the journey of the new moon in Aquarius, happening at 1 degree of Aquarius on January 21st, 2023. So before we dive into the juiciness of the astrology and the human design, and I take you on the journey of what's to come and how exciting this new moon is going to be, I'm going to share with you my beautiful candle. So I make these lovely candles. The Witch and the Wick is my company, and this is the Aquarius magic. It is absolutely fabulous. And as we're moving into Aquarius season, I know you're going to want one. So I'm going to put the link below for you to grab one because they are sensational. And you can read all the details of what the stones are included and why they've been included, how they're here to amplify the energy of that particular sign. So we know Aquarius is an air sign and that it is very it's a super conscious sign. I feel like the Aquarius folks are, when we know we're moving into the Aquarian age, but they are here to really help move the collective forward. And this is what I believe this new moon is moving us forward, helping us reprogram and change the way we think, releasing us from some of the limiting beliefs we've been stuck with for a really long time. So when I look at charts, I want to share with you my perspective on, the astrology, the human design, to take you on the journey and the path of how this not only shows up for the energy of the collective, but how this could show up for you in your own physical being. And when I look at the astrology, I think of astrology as the foundation. It's sort of the framework and the structure. And when we know what the astrology is, it gives us a little bit of perspective on how we can, use this energy to our benefit, because it's not really that flexible. It kind of is what it is, and you got to figure out how to work with it, where the human design is sort of the next level and the next layer. So if I was building a house, the astrology would be the foundation and the framework, where the human design is kind of the how we beautify, how we structure our walls, how we move our furniture around to make it more energetically flow and that we feel more comfortable in it. And this is what we can do with our human design, is allow a little bit of flexibility and a little bit of movement to flow through. And I also want to say this, that for those of you who are brand new, regardless of what your natal chart says, regardless of the chart I show you today, we have all of the chart, okay? As the transits move, so do the planetary positions, and it affects the energy of our chart. So we're always affected. And this is why following these moons and understanding how the energy impacts you helps set you up for success during, that day or when it will be happening, and the energy before and after. So you check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's the line I use often. All right, let's dive in. And today I'm going to start with the human design. Normally I start with the astrology, but I thought I would try to shake it up a little bit today. So hopefully you can see this gorgeous chart now, and you can see the amount of openness in this chart. And by openness, I mean there is no definition down here. It's all up here in the head. So Aquarius, right? All supercharged in the brain and, having this very floating body. So how are we going to land this energy? How is it going to come in? How are we going to feel it, right? Because this chart says we're, all mental projectors. So we have to talk things through, think things out, but this open throat is going to make communication maybe a little bit complicated, maybe a little bit messy, and that's okay. But just if you're aware of it, you're watching, because, depending on your own definition, there just may be this extra air of caution, this extra air of like, oh yeah, I'm working with this energy today. So if people aren't hearing me in the way that I normally speak, well, maybe there's something I need to try to do differently. Like ask people. I say with people who have this open throat, this here, this is the throat, that asking people if they'd like your perspective instead of your opinion will be the number one thing that leads you to success. If you start giving your opinion, though, to everyone, no one will want to hear them and no one cares. So that's just something that is what it is. So learning that that is the case, potentially for this energy of this new moon, and being conscious of the words that you use, the words that you share, and the impact that the words the wisdom you have has. So when we look here to the sun, we're going to look at personality only. We're not looking at design. I may look quickly at it, but I want you to focus on like boom, here is exactly where the stars are. This is what we are experiencing, and this is how it may show up. And remember, what I tell you is just like ways you could experience it, but how you experience it is going to be totally up to you, depending on a bunch of different things. But just know this. So the sun, the moon, and Pluto are all hanging out in gate 60. Now, gate 60 is about conservation. So it's really about finding the blessings in transformation. So it's allowing us to be more optimistic about the transformations, and we've been through, and focusing on what is working instead of what's not, because we could be wasting our energy looking at what's not working when we could be utilizing the power, of our energy. We have very limited, resources in the day. And when we start by going through the doubt phase and not being optimistic and seeing these challenges as a pain in the butt, and we don't see the optimism in it, which is very easy to do, very, very, very easy to do. But we see the optimism, like the transformation optimism, which just means that like once we move through this too shall pass. We have the ability to reframe, redesign, and move things differently. That is down here in the 60, which is the root. Okay, the root here. So you're going to get this pulse, 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 and they may come through as pulses like, oh, this isn't working. Okay, but what is working? So just like that's the theme for the day. What is working? What is working? What is working? How could this get better? How could this get better? Because that's where the transformation will happen, especially with Pluto right there, right? So what are the thoughts I'm thinking, and how are they affecting me? How are they affecting my energy and my ability to like conserve my precious resources, because I only have so much to give out. Then we look here to, this is where we're shining. Always, sun is always what we're growing into, what we're shining into. So remember, we're learning how to be more positive, more optimistic when we're going through transformation. What is working here? So when we're grounded, which is the 56, okay, this is the gate of expansion. So the 56 teaches us to share our stories. Okay, this runs off the throat. Remember, we talked about communication being, potentially challenging, but when you're sharing stories that inspire and stimulate expansion and possibility in other people, it's like you really help other people stimulate themselves through their own stories. And there's a powerful emotional energy that attaches to this. Okay, so it creates an evolution and growth, but it's a beautiful storytelling gate. So it is about you, stepping into your storytelling skills. Say that 5 times fast. And the ability for you to share really inspiring stories. This is part of like, what have you been through? Because this retrograde, this Mars retrograde, the Mercury retrograde, it's just been like, and we're coming out of it. We're on the other side of it. What stories do you have to share from that? What stories do you have to share? What stories do you have to share from the last 3 years? Okay, because we're in this, we've already entered into 2023. 2023 is this tidal wave of emotion, this tidal wave of energy that is, next level from 2020, because there are so many big outer planets moving into different signs, and there's lots of cool shifts that will be happening. And it's how you interpret those shifts and do use the energy to your advantage. If you're here watching this, you're aware, you're paying attention, and you're trying to find ways to utilize this energy. So that's the 56 expansion, using the stories that you have. And then we have the North Node here in gate 24, which runs off the mind. So you can see like a lot of mind work, right? And this is blessings, the gate of blessings. So it's really to recognize that all of your experiences have the potential for growth and, again, expansion. So it's like to redefine the stories of your experiences and to reflect what you have learned and how you've grown, and really being grateful for the life experiences that you have had, that you have been through, because every single thing you've been through is leading you to the next place, the next thing, the next evolution. And being up here in the mind, it's like you can get stuck in the stories. So watching, what story am I stuck in here, and really seeing the more positive side, the brighter side, to like, oh, that took me to here, even though at the time, and it may have felt unbelievably horrible. It's just everything we go through leads us to the next thing. And so that's the 24. That's where we're going, is to see the, the positive side to some of these, the blessings in some of these transformations we've been through. Okay. That's the thing. So the gate 44, which is the south node where we're coming from, is this gate here of truth. This runs off the spleen. It's the ability to really to see patterns that have created pain in our lives. So now we're seeing things for what they really are. We have a new level of understanding, right? And we're bringing this new level of understanding and awareness to really help ourselves and other people break these patterns and transform this pain into an increased sense of value of yourself and alignment with where you know you're supposed to be going. So that's what your experience, that's what you're moving, you've got this wisdom now and you're moving it forward. And it's like, now, how can I find the blessings in what I've been through? Okay. The moon we talked about is in conservation, which is what we talked about down here in the root. So I'm not going to talk about that again, but Mercury here is in gate 58, and gate 58 is down here, the joy of mastery, doing the work, preparing the stage, setting the stage. And what's interesting about this joy of mastery is that this is where Mercury has been retrograding. Okay. So it went over this once, went back, went over again. It's like it is kind of digging this rut here in the joy of mastery so that it can teach us how to harness the joy and receive and refine your practice until you reach fulfillment of your potential, really to live in joy. This is probably one of the hardest things for people to do, is like live in daily joy. So we've been working with this, and this is why people might be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, we've had to refine, we've had to redo, we've had to revisit, we've had to go back again. Like if you're working on a business project or you're working on a relationship or whatever it is, you've literally had to go back over it like what feels like 20,000 times. But the reason for this is that so that we can come through on the other side, which we're pretty close to now, of all that work I put in, that I was communicating and revising and revisiting and all the things. It's like, now you get to be in the bliss of it. That's what I feel like is here for us. And then we look to Venus. Beautiful Venus is in gate 49. And this is the gate of the catalyst. This is that very powerful energy. It's to sense, when it's time for us to hold a value that supports our new value. We've been blazing this trail here with Venus and Aquarius, teaching us, how to inspire others to make expansive choices, changes that embrace higher principles and a deeper alignment with peace, sustainability. It's the willingness for us to align with a higher frequency. And you hear a lot of talk about frequency, but frequency really, really, really does stem in the emotional solar plexus. How do we feel about things is how we begin to calibrate the things. So Venus is here getting us to look at, like, boom, what do we want to shift, change, look at, do? And she's conjunct Saturn, right? She's conjunct Saturn, who is in the gate 30, which we will talk about in a minute, but they're hanging out together. And I'll show you this again in the astrology chart, but this is where she is. Venus is here trailblazing. She's here. And then the sun is going to go through here a little bit later on, but just know, like, Venus first. Venus is going through, she's blazing this trail, then the sun's going to go through, and then Pluto's going to go through eventually. But this is where she is right now, which is very cool, very powerful. And then we look to our Mars, who has been hanging out in gate 16, which is the gate of zest. And he's been retrograding up here, hanging out. This is also a storytelling gate, okay? And this is the courage to trust our own intuition, okay? Really to trust our own intuition, that the timing is right and that you are ready, even if you don't feel like you're ready, or exactly how you're gonna, the journey is gonna unfold, but it's that you have faith in the outcome. You have faith that things are gonna change. You have faith that it's gonna move forward. You have faith, right? So you had Mercury retrograde here, in the joy of mastery. And then we had Mars retrograde here in the gate of zest. Like, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready. It's like, what's that? Ready, aim, fire. But it was like ready, 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 ready. It was like we weren't going anywhere. But now it's going to move forward. Now you're ready. Now the stage is set. Now you can find the joy in the work you've been putting in. That's what's going to happen. So when we look to gate 17 here, where Jupiter is, which is off the head in the ajna here, this is known also as the gate of opinions. But Karen Curry Parker, and this is her language, by the way, this is quantum human design language. She calls it the gate of anticipation. And so it's really about us using the power of the mind, okay? Because sometimes we get locked up in the mind with our old stories. And here we're looking to explore potentials and possibilities and to stretch our ideas about what is actually possible for us, to use our thought to inspire others to think bolder and bigger. And then to use our words to inspire and set the stage for creating energy that expands potential. So if I break this down in a nutshell, what we think about creates a feeling, what we feel creates a frequency. So we want to really be mindful of, are we thinking expansive thoughts full of potential and possibility, or are we just barking out opinions to somebody else of what we actually think? So paying attention to that, because mindset is everything. And you've heard this 1,000 times before, but it is the truth, right? Now I want to show you Saturn. So if you remember me talking about Venus, who is conjunct Saturn, Saturn is here in the 30, okay? The 30 is about passion. And it's about calibrating frequency and energy. The next couple we're going to talk about will be about the calibrating of frequency. So passion is the ability for us to sustain the dream, okay? So with Saturn being there beside Venus, she's trailblazing, and he's saying, but do we have this right? I'm here to help you make this happen, but do we have the ducks in a row? Are we ready? Do we feel like, we have enough oomph behind it to do it? Because he's here sustaining that dream with the intention and the vision, until you get to bring it to form. So it's inspiring other people with the power of your dream to inspire passion in other people. The more passionate you are, you just know when you're around somebody who's super passionate, you want to be around them more because it lights you up as well. And this is that energy with that Venus and Saturn together. It's saying, we're doing this thing. We're all in. We've blazed this trail and now we're going to make it happen. And when we have everything moving forward, it's like, it can't not happen. But do you trust? Because then we move into this beautiful energy of Uranus, who is going to move direct on the 22nd. So the day after this new moon, he's going to move forward. And he's here in the gate too. This is the gate of allowing. And the gate of allowing asks us, to set intentions and move solidly towards the fulfillment of the authentic self with complete trust that you are supported by the universe, okay? And that you can be the full expression of who you are and your life purpose, even if you have no idea how it's all going to come together. This is the energy of like, can you lean back and just feel this big universal hug that says, I got you. Don't worry. Go do you. I'll take care of how this is all going to figure itself out. Like, that's this trust. And this is a big muscle to build here. But with having Uranus being retrograde here, it has had us think, and not so much think, but really begin to calibrate, which is the heart as a calibrator, a new level of magnetism. Yes, I deserve to be supported no matter what. I deserve to be supported just because I am. I am going to do something completely different than what I thought I was going to do. And this is this energy of Uranus. Like if you went to school for software engineering and then you decided software engineering sucks, I want to be a potter, but you're passionate about it and you doing pottery makes you so happy. Like it brings you such joy and bliss and passion that there's no way it can't work. But do you trust? So this is kind of the energy we're playing with and toying with. And remember, the North Node and Uranus are together, hanging out real close, which I'll show you in the astrology chart. So there is this encouragement from that North Node being like, boom, there's blessings here in this transformation we've been going through. What's the new story? What are we saying is our new story? Okay. And then lastly, we have our beautiful Neptune here in gate 36, which is also running off that emotional solar plexus. So remember that emotional energy is all about frequency and our ability to really create an emotional frequency. That's the biggest thing here. So in the gate of exploration is the ability to hold a vision and sustain it with aligned frequency of emotional energy, and to bring the vision into form when the timing is right. It's the ability to stretch the boundaries and the story of humanity by breaking old patterns, old beliefs, creating miracles through our emotional alignment. It's like when you feel good, you can take on the world. Everything's easier. Everything comes to you faster. And this is about that frequency creates a magnetism. So how are you creating a magnetism right now if you're feeling funky, if you're not allowing yourself to explore and expand new options, new paths, new all the things, right? So that's in a nutshell, the HD. And I will say this, I'm going to do a separate video on this because it will be way too much to do it in one. But on the 22nd is the Human Design New Year. And there is an imprint for the year that will take us ahead and blaze a new trail for us through 2023. So that will be coming as well. I'll make sure you get that before the date. But I'm going to stop this share here. I'm going to come back to you, and then I'm going to go into the astrology and share with you just to kind of recap some of that energy. So if you remember, I was kind of finishing off with this North Node and Uranus hanging out together here in Taurus. It's in the 10th house of this chart, but you want to look to see where's the Taurus house for you, because this is where you're building something new. You're building something new, and you could have had mega fluctuations in your income and your money and all of that, the building, the beauty ruled by Venus here. It's like, what has happened in your Taurus house over this last little while? But when we look down here to the Venus and Saturn, remember, they're together here in the new moon, but they are conjunct exactly on the 22nd. And this is an Aquarius. So that was the energy of the catalyst and passion. And they're working together here to bring you, something new, something exciting, something you've been dreaming about. And this new moon energy of the moon and the moon and the sun and Pluto, like, remember, Pluto it's out of house conjunction, but it still matters. It still matters because there is a level of transformation on how we see ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. And this is very much connected to the story that we're telling. Is that keep wanting to call this convergence. Maybe I need to rename that gate to convergence, but conservation is really finding the blessings in optimism, transformation, optimism. That there is something being transformed within you, deep within you, that is getting a rewiring, a reworking. It's also this new moon is opposite Black Moon Lilith. So there is something coming up in the feminine that is like, we are reworking the way we're going to shine our light, the way we're going to show up on the stage, because it's in Leo, right? So that's that opposition here. How do we bring that into balance? What's this darker story we've been carrying that maybe it's time to just rewrite it and find the blessings in that. So we stop wasting our time on what isn't working and focusing our time in on what is working. And then there's also, from this new moon, a sextile to Jupiter, and Jupiter being in Aries conjunct Juno, the goddess of marriage and partnership. So what new partnerships are being built for you? What new seeds are being planted, being in Aries, right? This is that seed planting, that new thing being structured, being brought into vision. What are you wanting to expand? What's the new way of being, especially around the transformations that you've had, and knowing where to focus your energy so that you can expand, because Jupiter only wants to expand. So if you think about this, if your mind is caught in all the things that isn't working, my friend, that is what will be expanded. So I know it's not easy to hear that, especially if you're stuck in the, the crap of it, but it's like there is something here to be grown, to be expanded, to be transformed, because we've got also a trine happening to Mars. So there is a new moon trine happening to Mars, who is now going to begin to move forward and take it forward. All right. It's actually like a grand air trine if you're using the goddesses, which I'm like, yes, we should be. So we're building something new. This is Earth Mother series, is Earth Mother and Libra. On the earth plane, we're building something new here, something tangible, something, beautiful. And then we're going to get that baby out into the world and into action. Like there is this energy and support here of how big do you want this vision to be? How big could it get? And new moon is new energy, fresh energy. I also going to share with you this beautiful book. It's by Geico. I think I share it every time, but it's The Power Wish. It's a really, really excellent book. She walks you through how to set your new moon intentions in a way that is powerful and meaningful and actually makes an impact. So when we look to Aquarius in here, it is all about the new vision. Hold on here. It's 209. I'm just going to pull it up because I think some of you want to just see this energy. So it's breaking through the status quo and advancing to the next level. And she's got all kinds of really great start a revolution, with a new moon. So what's the new revolution you want to make in your life? That's where we're at. And that's the energy afoot here. It's very beautiful. It's very big. And you have a lot of ways to go even bigger. Okay. Even though you may be hearing the information like, whoa, it's going to be a big year and it's going to be this and it's going to be that. Yes, but take advantage of it. Take advantage of this time. Do something different because the energy is here to support you as you do it. So I'm just going to stop this share and come back to you and close out this beautiful new moon in Aquarius session together and let you know that this is the third new moon at 1 degree. This is a big deal because we're in the middle of the sandwich. We're like the mushy part in the middle because we've had two of these new moons. One happened in Capricorn and one happened in Sagittarius. And the one that happened in November, which is the Sagittarius one, the Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mercury were conjunct. And they were, I think there was this remodeling around the divine feminine. Like Venus has shown up powerfully in each one of these. So if I think about the moon and Venus and the sun being connected, it's like the story we were telling about our divine feminine got a little reworking. And then in December, it was Venus, Mercury, and Pluto. So not only did the story get a revise, Pluto did, the transformation and was like, okay, now we're going to go deep with this. And then there was also a sun, moon, and Hygeia. So in the new moon, it was Hygeia was connected. So there was something around our health. How do we want to feel stronger, feel more powerful within ourselves? And now we have this like, let's move it forward. And then I believe the next two moons are just going to be there to support that growth, to support that expansion. So it's going to be really, really exciting. So for those of you who want to go all in this year, you want to go all in on yourself, totally trusting in you, working on your intuition, working on your wisdom, allowing yourself to be the first person, when you're trying to make a decision, you trust yourself, you go to yourself first. You don't look outside of yourself. You take the time to go and get quiet. What do I need? What do I want? And how do I want to trust myself to move this thing forward? I invite you to join me on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful masterclass that I'm hosting on January 31st. I've dropped all the information below. You can go read all about it and check it out. It will be a game changer. And I'm also going to take you through, you're going to be the first people to experience the Venus Code. And this is where I take you through the process of calibrating your energy, shifting your frequency, bringing you into alignment and connection with this beautiful star, which is Venus. All the magic. And if you're like, I just want to touch my toes into the waters of all things divine feminine frequency, join the DFF. Links are below. It's me in Voxer every single day, Monday to Friday, telling you the the energy that's afoot with Venus and with the moon so that you can go through your day more powerfully, feeling like, okay, today's not a great day for big bad conversations. So I'm going to ease off on that today. I'm going to tackle this thing and I'm going to be able to move my energy forward in this way. Or if I'm experiencing, a lot of emotion, this is how I can move some of it forward. That's the information. And it's like, it's it's amazing information. The feedback is fantastic. And I know you'll absolutely love it if you're in the vibes of the feminine frequency. So if that's for you, that's below as well. So thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to bring you the New Year video for your Human Design New Year, which will be dropping shortly as well. So stay connected. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on this video so that more people can find it. Share it with your friends and anyone else that you know could benefit from this information. So much love to all of you, and I will be back very shortly with the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.